Record. Hello all, James here. Have you ever spoken into a camera for 15 minutes straight and the keyboard... Can I just say this? This Corsair keyboard, right, with the keypad on it, is a piece of crap and it never worked. Do not buy it. Hello all, James here. I want to make sure that I'm already in a bad mood now. I want to make sure to strike the right balance with this video, like I did the first time. Because I don't want to be Brian Alvarez dumping all over this promo. I also don't want to be a WWE fanboy praising this as the second coming of CM Punk's legendary pipe promo from 2011, because it certainly wasn't that either. If you don't know, WWE NXT generated quite a bit of buzz on the World Wide Web this past Tuesday with Grayson Waller. I'm as annoyed as Grayson Waller now. Anyway, Grayson Waller, you remember him? The Australian guy with the board shorts, who's not done anything remotely of value in WWE in at least like a year. Probably longer. He was with The New Day briefly, which was weird. And before that, he and Austin Theory were a tag team for like 18 months, and all they did was hate each other and bicker with each other, but never broke up. So it was a complete waste of time. He never got the payoff. Then Austin Theory got a hernia and disappeared for 5 months. Well, that Grayson Waller turned up on NXT and cut a shoot promo, brother. He interrupted the commentators and everything. Hey, this isn't on my format sheet. What's going on? Anyway, I've got news for you. Back in the old days, work shoot promos were called something very, very different. They were called promos, because most wrestlers actually used to go out there once upon a time and spoke with conviction, like Grayson Waller did here, rather than recite a stilted monologue that he only had 3 hours to memorize. I'm going to say this now. The delivery of Grayson Waller's promo was decent, and he went on for like 8 minutes doing it, which is an awful long time to have, the focus entirely on you, keep up the intensity and all that pacing he was doing, instead of moving his head around a lot. He didn't stumble over his words. He really did himself a favour with this promo. I want to say that now. Now, I know a lot of fans really like this promo as well, and this is absolutely a shot in the arm that Grayson Waller needs. Just ticket me shorts as well. He didn't stumble over his words. He's really done himself a favour with this whole promo. I know that a lot of fans, once again, really liked it, but the thing is that, and yes, it may well have, helped rejuvenate his career, but then, in another sense, he's been demoted to NXT, and he's getting more promo time. You see what I mean? He's on the developmental brand. He's got more time, but he's on a lesser brand than he was on. He's been shunted down for the main roster. It's very much poison chalice. It's like, you give with one hand and take it away with the other kind of thing. But I wanted... I went back and watched the entire thing, and I wanted to listen to the actual content of what he said. Sounded very good on the surface, but if you actually dig deep, there are a few points he made that I either wouldn't have said or said completely differently, because at times he puts down the entire roster and Austin Theory, and with putting everybody down, he kind of drags himself down along with it at times, and I'll explain why in a minute. He starts off by saying how he's got a live microphone and how he's dangerous with his vocal cords and whatnot, and how his main roster debut started with some success, but then he apparently didn't politic enough. He didn't kiss the right arse, maybe. I'd still got to check him recording. 3 minutes 40. And that the last 2 years of his career was a kind of a total embarrassment. You look, arguably all true, and it's nice to hear a bit of truth for once, or what you can kind of hang your hat on as far as being true. He then goes on to say that Austin Theory, or so we presume he's talking about Austin Theory, because Grayson gives Austin Theory the old Mike Santana, Lord Voldemort, he must not be named nonsense, and they actually never say the words Austin Theory, which is really weird because he mentions like a dozen other people in this promo afterwards, but for some reason you can't mention Austin Theory. Now, Grayson claims he made Austin Theory relevant again. Arguably true. After his initial start with that, when he had the little mustache going, but, after Vince McMahon took his golden egg and pissed off back to his boat, the Sexy Bitch, which is his real name for his boat. Waller then says that no matter how many opportunities WWE Creative give to Theory, he still can't cut a promo, and he also refers to Austin as the Marty Jannetty of the team. Now, this is the first thing that really pricked my ears up, and I was like, what? Grayson Waller, and for a fact that people were sat down writing this, that'll be a great line. It doesn't make any sense. Grayson Waller, who's done nothing for 2 years other than get jobbed out and left off of TV shows, and has now been shunted down to NXT like Ridge Holland or Alex Riley, is calling himself by virtue the Shawn Michaels of the team, while the so-called Marty Jannetty of the team, Austin Theory, is on WWE Raw, has been for a while, is like one of the more focused acts on there, as one half of the tag team champions with Maxime Dupree hanging off his arm. It seems that he's the Shawn Michaels, and he's even got a sensational Sherry in Maxine, in that sense. Grayson says the last year he was dressed like black, in black, I should say, for a funeral, but the funeral was for his own career. Grayson then says it's a new day, but he doesn't say yes it is, referencing his brief alliance with the New Day, and he's in great shape and ready to go. And then Grayson says he wants to conquer the NXT Championship, which no longer means anything. Now, this is the other bit I'm really going to pick up on. So you just said the NXT Championship doesn't mean anything anymore, but I'm going after it. Well, why bother then? Because it used to represent the best in the world and the future of the industry. Your Kevin Owens, your Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano. I'm leaving that in. Also, more recent champions like Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Obafemi. He just said it used to mean something. Then he names 3 really modern NXT champions, which kind of defeats the point of the belt. The used to mean something. Maybe it used to mean something until 4 months ago. I don't know. He says that the main roster call-ups have the red carpet treatment rolled out for them. In Carmelo Hayes' case, I'm not so sure these days. But then he says he was treated, he, being Grayson Waller, not Carmelo Hayes, was treated as a Netflix ad break comedy act, which, in fairness, Javon Evans was also the same. Not as a comedy act, but for like 2-3 weeks in a row, like on Raw, they kept bringing him out during the commercial breaks, like to sign his contract and stuff, and only showed that on the social medias afterwards. That was weird as well, so I guess at least Javon Evans knows the same thing. And then he says, Waller says, who's going to stop me from taking the NXT belt that doesn't mean anything? Cruz Montana? Love the new name, mate. This is what he says. It's great. Okay, I want to add this, and I'm glad he brought this up. Changing Mike Santana's name is moronic enough in the first place, despite the fact that he was TNA champion. Apparently he wasn't deemed a big enough star to keep his own gimmick name, but Joe Hendry was, for example. It's even more annoying when you consider the fact that Mike Santana appeared as Mike Santana on NXT several times in 2024-2025 when they were doing that, TNA crossover feud with NXT. Bear this in mind. WWE can easily just lease the IP from the wrestler for the length of their contract. They've done it a million times. They've done it probably over the course of their entire existence. They've probably done it more times than they've changed the names of people. Probably. WWE only forces these name changes not to make the wrestlers more marketable in most cases, but so the wrestlers aren't as valuable when they leave. And it's like it's bad for the wrestlers, it's bad for whatever other promotion they go to, because then they've got to kind of start like, what are Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods going to call themselves? Like Apollo thingy, I can't remember what his other name was. He had the boxing thing. Austin Creed, not Apollo. I knew there was a Creed in there. And it doesn't do anyone any favours. It doesn't make any difference to WWE's business. It just makes everybody else less valuable in the long haul. And if you think, well, it's so they can use their name in, future videotapes. Well, there aren't no videotapes, there aren't no royalties anymore, practically. Cruz Montana is no more marketable or less marketable than the name Mike Santana. It's as simple as that. All this name change is for him, when he eventually leaves, to be more struggling to not be able to use the name he's used in the last few years. Back to Grayson Waller. Grayson says nobody will care about Cruz Montana in 6 weeks when there's another debut to get excited over. Quite possibly true, the shiny new toy and all that kind of thing. Then he drops maybe the most plain Jane insult This is the bit that offended me the most. When he says that Cruz Montana being TNA champion means nothing because in 2026 it's like being the best basketball player at the local YMCA. Boy, must that have stung as an insult. Dagger in my heart. 6 weeks to recover from that one. Ben Elton must have written it. I think that's the bit, once again, that offended me the most. That was prime real estate to just put something really funny in there, and they didn't. He buries Tony D being only being NXT champion because all the good wrestlers got called up. So it's like, oh, great, way to put over your opponent, buddy. And also, there's no doubt that I don't think they're going to make Grayson Waller champion immediately. And if they do have him face Tony D or whoever it is, I don't think he's going to win the NXT belt. So let's just say the more likely thing that happens is that Tony D beats Grayson Waller. And it's like, well, okay, we just lost to this guy. It's like the Jericho Undertaker thing. When Jericho debuted in WWF with The Rock, that was all great. Like a week or two later, he does the same thing with The Undertaker, and he calls Undertaker old and washed up, and he needs to get... And The Undertaker afterwards was like, listen, I may be old, and keep in mind he was saying this 27 years ago. I may be old, but I'm going to be winning. So what does that make you when the guy you just called old and washed up and no good anymore beats you? Floor manager then walks up and tells Grayson that Shawn Michaels asked him to wrap it up. Grayson refuses, says, hey, we're not due for a commercial break, you aren't going to do anything. Crowd chants HBK. Grayson tells the NXT roster to put down their phones, stop making TikTok videos and watch the show and learn something. This is kind of where it gets the most interesting, is because this feels like this was straight from... Because now I guess he's like a player coach in NXT, because he's already been doing house shows as of recent, going with the NXT roster. And this is where it gets interesting, because I'm wondering if this is his frustrations with the NXT roster, Shawn Michaels, Matt Bloom's, other people's. A general consensus is that people aren't working hard enough or not paying enough attention when they're there to learn. This was the most interesting bit for me. He says the male roster is soft and complacent and happy to be there, and that the women's roster is running laps around the men. Says the entire roster feel they are ready for WWE, but Grayson says only 10% are actually ready for the main roster, and they are all women. I'm not backstage, once again. I don't know if this is how people really feel. I just think this is actually... it doesn't do anything good or bad for Grayson Waller. I thought this was just like the most true thing that was put out there, that I think there were some genuine frustrations, and they just thought it'd be kind of, I guess, a wake-up call for some other of the roster members. Grayson then drops a good line that I appreciate, saying that most of the roster wants to be WWE superstars, put it in their social media bios, and then they dick around backstage and then take up space in medical. He then puts... This is a bit weird. He puts over independent talent that NXT uses, but none of them can cut promo, which is a very good lesson, because honestly, some of the best wrestlers in the world were great interviews and weren't that great in the ring. Like, there's a definite hierarchy of importance, if you know what I mean, in skills. He says that Shawn Michaels deep down agrees with him. He shuts down... This is also something I liked. Fans started chanting for Grayson, and he shuts them down immediately within like a second and says, like, hey, I don't need you, I'm cooking right here, stop interrupting. Seth Rollins could learn something from this, when he was a bad guy, but he'd come out like 4-minute music thing and then conduct the crowd and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, jeez. I like that Grayson Waller said, don't interrupt me, I'm on a point here. I'm not here for you to chant along with. I like that a lot. He says, NXT is ripe for the taking because they suck, and I'm the best pound guy in WWE. Once again, I mean, say they, I mean, his microphone was cut, and then he starts yelling into the camera, and then they go to commercial break. Now, once again, the promo was delivered with some good convictions, confidently enough, and definitely overall, he has done himself a favour with this. But his promo did also consist of the following points. His WWE run the past 2 years was terrible. He admits it was terrible. He admits partial responsibility for it, or that he was held down, or you should have politicked more, which in the world of kayfabe, this keeps coming up. It's come up for decades now. And you kind of have to read between the lines. But in kayfabe terms, what does that mean? You get matches, you win or lose. You know what I mean? But, it's 2026, I guess. That doesn't matter anymore, I suppose. He cries about Austin Theory and how he had to carry Theory to relevance, and that Theory is the Marty Jannetty of the team, despite Austin being by far the biggest star and the Office favourite, while he was being demoted to NXT and is now kind of, I guess, a player coach. He's been, as I explained, he's been doing the house shows. He says the NXT Championship is worthless, and that NXT Champion Tony D is only NXT Champion because all the NXT stars have gone, the big ones have gone up to the main roster. But he's going after the worthless belt anyway because he can do it with the snap of a finger because he's great. Once again, like half a good message, half not doing anyone else a favour message. And then the entire men's roster sucks, and then Shawn Michaels agrees with him. My points here are that with a bit of thought, this could have just been tweaked just a little bit to be more effective, in my opinion. Austin Theory used his you could say this. Look, Austin Theory used his political clout with Heyman. Paul Heyman, he's with Paul Heyman now. Paul Heyman loves him. Paul Heyman's big in the back, and he can help make the matches and stuff. Through Paul Heyman or other people he's got influence with that I don't have influence with, he has been holding me back. He's been keeping me off TV. I wanted to wrestle more. I know I'm better than him. He knows I'm better than him. That's why he's the Marty Jannetty and that I'm the real star. It's just that he's got friends in the back who are stopping me from being the Grayson Waller that I want to be. Just calling Austin Theory the Marty Jannetty of the tag team doesn't hold up to scrutiny. I like my version of it better. Whereas, and then I'll tell you what as well, when I beat whoever it is, Tony D or whoever else is going to be NXT champion, because I'm the best damn person in NXT, and I'm going to take this belt, I'm going to go back to WWE Raw, because then I will be undeniable, and then I will take out Austin Theory. I'll prove to you, myself, everybody here, that I am the better of the tag team. He is the Marty Jannetty, or whoever you want to call it, is the blah, blah, blah. And then, you know what I mean? It's like that little tweak goes from kind of partly the delusion away from the delusion to that I've got a chip on my shoulder. I know I'm better. I'm going to spend my time here proving it right until I go back and prove it right to the people who, are holding me back kind of thing. What's this Grayson Waller's version of the CM Punk pipe bomb promo, which I've seen here, there, and everywhere? No, it isn't. I also don't think it's fair to compare Waller's promo to Punk, because while both promos were born out of frustration, no doubt, it's different people with different motivations and different parts of their careers, and comparing this to kind of like a really legendary promo as well is really unfair to Grayson Waller. Was it a bad one? No, it absolutely wasn't a bad promo either. It was a good promo. Shoot style, but once again, shoot style just used to be just a promo. What can I tell you? I would have liked a couple of extra funny put-downs with more self-aggrandizing, maybe less crapping on your opponents as well. Because that bit did seem like that was from the back. From your Shawns or Matt Blooms or whoever else it might be, just angry that some of these people aren't taking WWE or wrestling as seriously as that you want them to. But more like, I like that I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. But for my mind, I think a couple of tweaks, I think the points would have hit home harder as well. That's my thoughts on everything. I think it was fine for what it was, absolutely. It was a net positive for Grayson Waller. That's the video. Those are my thoughts. Let me know. I might see you later today for another video.